Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes he did.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
I've never noticed the Alabama pillow in the background.
I pulled her out a little bit more.
It's coming to the fall. It's August. I think it's all in my mind, but I feel like it feels cooler outside.
It does not.
Okay, it might be in my mind.
It absolutely doesn't.
I asked you before we start recording, totally unrelated, if you could date an Auburn fan, and you said, yeah. I know people who will not mix company.
Yeah.
It's
always a joke, but yeah, I have before. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, because we win all the time, so, I mean,
Shame. All right, thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of Oh No Girl Yes, the podcast where we just trying to figure some stuff out, and we glad that y'all are on the journey with us. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you for following and subscribing to our YouTube channel and Patreon. If you have not subscribed to Patreon, that's where you want to be, because that's where you get all the behind-the-scenes dish and don'ts and do's and won'ts. More behind-the-scenes information there on Patreon. And we appreciate all of you for supporting and listening. So, we had our first episode last week of First Date.
Right.
If you did not see First Date, go to our YouTube page, Oh No Girl Yes YouTube page. You can see the entire episode. It's about 45 minutes. But if you did see it, what did you think? Let us know. We got a lot of comments during the live show. For those of you that don't know, First Date was our live online dating. Was it a game? What we said is like dating. It's a game, but there are no winners.
Yeah, dating show is probably
a dating show. Yeah. We had 2 single women, 2 single men, and we asked them all different questions, and they interacted with each other as well, and the audience also interacted. And for it to be our first attempt at the idea, the vision, how do you think it went for you on your end as the producer?
Right. I thought it went really well. I enjoyed it. A lot of people were like, oh my God, is this going to be an hour? I hope it's going to be an hour. Like when we were like 10 minutes in, I'm like, hey, calm down.
Right, because we knew we wanted to try to stay between 30 and 45 minutes because we didn't want to just be sitting there dragging it out.
And we did.
Yeah.
I thought we did. So
we'll probably keep it right around there. We got to keep it there so when we start putting in our commercials from the network.
Right. Yeah, you got to have room for the commercial. Then it's an hour-long show. We know this already. 42 minutes. That's all you need.
That's all you need. We don't need more than that.
No, but I thought our participants, our featured singles, did a really good job. I felt like they came ready to find some love in some places.
I was surprised at how open they all seemed. None of them seemed shy from doing it live and online.
Right. So, yeah, they were prepared ahead of time. They knew what to expect a little bit as far as being on Facebook. So, I think they did a good job.
So all of our participants were great. It was good because we also had a range. You had a younger guy and an older guy, and I think the women were a nice range from each other. So we got a lot of different perspectives. Yadoye Travis, our 28-year-old, when we just started calling him 28, he was the one that was named most likely to have a second date, I guess, where we had people send us #second-date.
Right.
We wanted to hear more from him.
He got a lot of love. He
surprised us with some of his answers. He was definitely a 28-year-old because he didn't even make his bed before he did the show.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him, but I didn't do it on the air.
Well, you know what? He wouldn't have cared, more than likely.
He obviously did not care.
He did not care. That is.
I'm like, you could have pulled the covers up or something, bro.
Oh, just take the clothes off the bed. Just make it look like one color.
That was hilarious. He was definitely 28 years old.
Yeah. But it was fun, and it was fun to see the audience engage and interact. Do you think we'll have more people that'll be willing to do the next one now that they've seen that one?
I think so. We've already heard from a few people anyway, but I think they are more apt to do it now. Now you can see how comfortable it is. It wasn't anything uncomfortable for anyone,
right?
And it was fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
he asked one guy, and he was like, and he kind of blew us off. And then he voluntarily reached out after, was like, oh, was that what y'all was talking about?
That's what okay, I might jump on
maybe. I don't know, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I would have you on there now.
Right. No, and I had some people in the audience who were reaching out to me, saying they were gonna hop into somebody's DMs. I'm not gonna say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then so that was the whole point, to connect people. However it comes, you want to connect people.
Right. And that's if we could just get one couple, we can get one couple out of any of these conversations, even if it's not one of us. We feel like our work here is done. That's really, I think, our goal. We know that becoming a couple isn't going to make us happy or great or wonderful. We do desire to be coupled up, though. Right. That is our desire for now. You know, things change. But
that's me in 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes. And that changes. So did you hear any surprises on the show? There's one thing that did not surprise me that I think we're going to end up talking about more.
Okay.
Before we get to that, were there any like surprises?
Well, I wasn't expecting a talent show for real. Even though we had that question on there, I wasn't expecting you to start singing. But that was a good moment. That was a charming moment, I thought.
It was. I think that's what really put him over the top is when we asked the question, do you have a secret talent? Or you could have answered another question. Right. He chose the talent, even though he tried to act like he wasn't choosing the talent. You know?
Yeah.
So Udoye did a great job. So I reached out to Udoye and I said, hey, thank you for being such a great sport and singing and letting us call you young. And he said that he hopes to be coupled up one day soon, but if he's not, he would be willing to return to first date as the reigning champ. So
the All-Star edition.
You still ain't got nobody. You would have went on this show and that means nothing in the real world. So the moment that I know we want to talk about is ironic because the moment that we had on the show where one of the participants, one of the featured singers, Brian, spoke about his preference. It was on the deal breaker question. It was for only the men. What was ironic was I have had a conversation with you, pretty much the exact verbatim conversation about a different man that's the same age as Brian. So when Brian shared that he felt the same way about this thing, I couldn't believe it. So Brian will be 55 in December. And he was saying that a deal breaker is if she doesn't like have pretty feet. He does have an interest in dating women his age. You know, he's not like going for too young. He has a range, but he seems like he would prefer someone around his age. And so one of the other featured singles women, Crystal, was like, okay, wait, are you in your 50s? Because he said that he made this list when he was 15.
Right.
And she said, wait, have you not updated your list since you was 15?
Minus the singing. That was my second favorite moment of the night. Because she said a line in there that was so true. Your list should be updated every decade.
Let's talk about the list and let's talk about the updates, okay? Because that really, really, really explains a lot.
It really does.
And even if you haven't consciously thought about that, maybe you should. Because I always usually say it like as you should audit your life. I did an op-ed a while ago about taking constant audits on your life. Am I happy? Is this what I want to be doing every day? Is this the house I want to live in? Is this the city? Is this the, you know, and it's the same thing with that list that we all had when we were 15. How much does your list today resemble your list from when you were 15? You personally?
Just that it's a man.
Still just a man.
That's the only thing that hasn't changed.
What are you most surprised that is not on your list anymore? It used to be a thing for you that now isn't a thing.
I would say probably no kids. That's probably, I mean, it's not even that surprising, but even then I couldn't see myself marrying someone with children, you know, years ago.
Also back then we didn't see ourselves being this old.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. So,
yeah, because when we were in our 20s, we didn't have kids or didn't even think about having kids.
Yeah, I wanted to experience it first with my husband, but now it's like, it's not even that easy.
It's kind of unrealistic to think you would meet someone our age that doesn't have kids.
Right, and Daisy mentioned that too. She was like, it wouldn't even be a...
My thing with kids has changed quite a bit. Being 45, when I was younger, I don't want him to have kids. Got a little bit older, okay, he can have kids, but he needs to be a good dad. Got a little bit older, okay, he needs to have kids because I'm not going to have no kids. Right. And down to the age where most of the people that I would be dealing with, their kids probably would never come under my purview. Like I would never have to help raise anybody's kids. So I really don't even care about the kids. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I don't even factor them into the guy. Yeah. Because when you're younger and the kids are younger, you know, that's going to affect his availability. That's going to affect a lot of different things. You know, are you going to ultimately become a step parent, or, you know, are you going to have access to these children? Now at 45, a lot of folks' kids are, you know, 18, 20, 25, and ain't got nothing to do with me. So it's a relief having that be one less thing that would count somebody out.
Right. Anything else what's on your list that surprised you? There was on your list.
Was on my list. I think when I look back, well, first of all, when I first started dating, I didn't have a list. I was just whatever.
Squirrel.
He like me, I like him back. You know, by the time I actually got a list, I was probably already an adult. It was like, oh wait, I need to be clear about what I want. And you know what's crazy is I just had this conversation with myself today about with this new normal and figuring out what it is that I want to be doing every day, you know, actively to be productive or to make money or whatever. I don't have in my mind what that is. You know, I have these kind of general I like to do that. But when somebody says, well, what is it you want to do? I'm like, what do you mean? You know, so I'm not someone who has ever really been good about that part personally. Once I did start getting a list, the things that used to be important to me aren't. Now, what I learned about that list, if I had something on the list like, oh, I want him to be wealthy or I want him to have money, you know, not necessarily because I need his money, but I need him not to be broke and poor. And I need him not to have a poor mindset. Well, that's not really on my list anymore. Right. What's on my list is I need him to be generous. Because I've dated people who had money, and that did not affect me in the least in a positive way. And so it almost made it worse, like, hey, this dude ain't tried to flew me out nowhere. This dude ain't tried to offer no support on this. This dude didn't even get me a birthday card, and I know he got it.
Right.
So now that's not important to me. What's important is he generous with what he has? Yeah. Whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's resources, whether it's support. So generous replaced wealthy.
Gotcha.
I'm not overly attached to a physical type now because my physicality has changed as well. But you know what? I never had a six-pack and wanted one on them. I never have it. But that I realize that stuff like doesn't matter. Now, I still need you to be a good-looking, attractive person to me.
Right.
But yeah, the stuff that used to turn my head when I was younger is crazy. It makes me turn my head in the opposite direction.
But you do have one thing on your list that I don't think will ever change.
Ooh, what? Hands. You know what? I don't think hands started out on my list because I don't think I noticed hands until I caught a case of bad ones. You know, like if you've only seen decent hands, you're not even thinking about it. It's not until you see bad hands on a man do you think. So just like Brian and the feet, is that equal?
I don't know if it's equal. No, I don't think. I don't know. Somebody may say he would.
Let me explain this. Let me explain it for me. I like for a man to have nice hands. And when I say nice hands, I mean, I don't want to see that you like chew your nails or that, you know, and it's not that you get manicures. It's not that, you know, your fingernails are glossy or buffed. It's just nice hands.
She doesn't like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle nails. If you think about how their hands used to look, the little puffy ends, because they done chewed all the nails
like off. Frog fingers, where it's like you didn't chew your fingers up so much they just perpetually swollen at the tip. I can't. And you remember that I tried to date somebody once who had bad hands. I just didn't like his hands. And I even went so far as to buy some stuff to put on his nails so he would stop biting them and he would never use it. And I was like, listen, I bought something for you to put on your nails. Now look, obviously I don't have, my nails aren't done. I haven't been to the nail shop since March.
Yeah.
So it's not about perfect hands, but you can't be doing this. And wait, and let me say this too. This is biting a nail. You see somebody doing that, that's bad enough that their fingers in their hand. But when they like eating the whole finger, like
you gotta watch to see what we're talking about.
Now, you're saying that's not equivalent to Brian saying he wants pretty toes.
I don't know that it is, but I did just think about it when you were talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, she done.
I know.
So there's something on everybody's list that's like, you know what, I can't.
It might sound very superficial to someone else.
Right. So maybe that's where Brian was coming from in his own superficial. But the only thing is, the difference is he's had that same list since 15, and if you're still single at 55 or 54, then maybe that part, I know you met some nice, capable women that maybe their feet weren't that great.
Maybe she was a model. Maybe she was a dancer.
I know
her feet are messed up now. They've been using their feet for 30 years, 40 years. They're probably not gonna be that pretty now. But if I met a man who didn't have great fingers, I would still be thinking I can help him with that.
But you wouldn't want him to touch you in the meantime, right?
Not until we rehab them digits. Not until we rehab them digits. I'm not going.
Oh man, I'm trying to think if I have anything along those lines that would be very superficial and.
Yes, you do.
What is it? I don't know. Physically, I don't know what it is.
Yes, you do.
Physically.
Yes, you do.
Oh, the curly hair.
Yes. I'm like, yes, you do. You don't like a man with curly hair.
Oh, no.
Who cares if his hair is curly? She does not like a man and I can't believe you said that trying to act like, I don't know if I have any.
I couldn't think of that. This seems so normal to me.
And I'm looking at you like.
It seems so normal.
That's not normal because he can't help how his hair grows out of his head.
Some of them can.
You can help if you're doing this right here.
Some of them can help it, and they think the curly look is what they need.
How can they help that their hair is curly?
I don't know. Put some little process on it or something.
So we need to go back and apologize to Brian.
We do.
We will apologize.
But I'm not gonna say, but I think I'm like you. At this point, I wouldn't turn, if he was cute otherwise, the curly hair would be a turn off immediately. I can't even lie. But if he got past that, it wouldn't be like I wouldn't talk to him.
Now, I think the curly hair is very superficial. And it's just like somebody who would say, ooh, I would never date a Scorpio. Ooh, he had Capricorn, never. It's like he didn't have nothing to do with when he was born.
Maybe he acts, I don't know what the traits of it.
Right, so I don't like for people to cross somebody out for something they can't help. Now, for a woman that might have bad looking feet, she may have not worn the most sensible shoes in her heyday.
Or she, like you said, she may be a dancer, or she just may have bad genes.
You can't help how long your toes grow.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who had bad toes. And not only did she have bad toes, she had to have an operation which all her toes were broken and reset.
I had a girlfriend do that.
And so her feet, gorgeous woman, smart, intelligent, successful, beautiful, but them toes look like cigarette butts.
I had a girlfriend. Well, she kind of broke them. Or did you say they broke them or something?
They broke them for her, something to reset her toes.
She had cosmetic surgery done on both of her feet before. Beautiful girl. But she had them toes done. She married with a baby now, so I guess it was.
You know who they tried to talk about their feet, and I don't know if it was true that they did have foot surgery, but Sierra. I remember one time a picture circulating of Sierra's toes. And when I tell you, people be trying to ask her, what was the prayer you said before you met Russell? Because I may have shared a meme with your toes on it, and now I need to know what was it that you said.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how the tables turn, huh?
Right. So we will say an overall apology to Brian for judging him. But Brian was the second man that was in his mid-50s that said to me something about a woman's pretty feet. And my immediate and still reaction is, you know that a woman's feet don't determine whether she's a good woman, whether she's going to be a great partner, whether she's going to love and protect you. Yeah. Her feet. Now, I understand when you're younger, you're like, oh, man, look at her feet. And I understand wanting to be attracted to
what
someone.
What was the context around the conversation about the feet when they first came out?
Huh?
What was the context around the conversation?
Well, with Brian, I brought it up that I know a man his age who is still talking about feet. And I was
No, I'm saying, well, why was that his response? Did you ask him what's a turnoff for him, or?
Like, what are you looking for in a woman?
And that was one of his answers.
That was the first answer.
Oh, see, that's a difference. And so we'll apologize, but I won't mean it all the way. Yeah, because that would never be an answer for me if someone asked me what's a turnoff. And that wouldn't be the first thing to come out of my mouth. It's curly hair. I'm thinking about people who are lying. I'm thinking about people who are, like somebody who can't have a conversation or somebody, the curly hair wouldn't be the first thing to come out of my mouth.
Okay.
And I don't think hands would be the first thing to come out of your mouth.
No. That would
as
be
a
the number one
trait.
turnoff. Because guess what?
trait.
Somebody can have gorgeous hands. If they don't never call you, it don't matter.
Exactly.
If they lying to you every day, it don't matter.
Yeah.
If they make you question your very existence and gaslight you every day, it don't matter. Them hands don't matter. So that's the same thing. If you're 55 plus and barring somebody passing away on you, you ain't found nobody and you ain't with nobody. You probably need to reevaluate where feet are on your list. Because your actual partner and mate might have hammer time.
Yeah.
And Brian made the comment, I don't want to be rubbing ugly feet sitting on the couch. And I said, that's why God made socks. I don't have ugly feet. Now, again, we also talked about it on the show. Feet are subjective.
Perspective about it.
They're very, I don't have ugly feet. I don't have the prettiest feet. And when I say pretty feet, when I think of pretty feet, some people's feet look like fingers. Like the nails on their feet look like full-grown fingernails. Not the long, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never had them kind of toes. My toes are calm and simple. They ain't got
I'm
no
looking down at my toes like, I'm like,
yeah. Right, they ain't got no decorations on them. I'm not going to get in no foot modeling contest. Mm-hmm. But I will wear sandals and not be embarrassed. Yeah. I will show my feet. But I am very, 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 very sensitive about feet. I don't want nobody touching my feet without socks on. And I don't want nobody's feet touching me without socks on.
Yeah.
Because somehow feet are just a very intimate part of your body to me. So me and Brian won the match anyway. Even Yodoye was surprised that Brian was talking about feet. The 28-year-old.
He wanted him to move up to the calves at this point.
Oh, that he did say that. Move up to the calves. Okay, so since curly hair is your ridiculous, superficial deal breaker, give me another superficial deal breaker. It's still a deal breaker, but you realize it really don't matter that much. But it's still a deal breaker.
Did I have to this day?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of one. Oh, someone who talks too much.
Oh, yeah. You do not like a talking man. Now, I used to think I liked a talking man. I used to think I did.
And the reason I don't, this is the reason why. Like I've said this before. I don't know if it's on here or Patreon, but I come from a family, we all talk a lot. That's okay. But as soon as you open your mouth, you open up yourself to being judged.
Judged, ridiculed, ostracized.
So it's almost out of a protection, like you don't want to show everybody how dumb you are right now. Keep your mouth closed.
Right.
I'd rather you just be quiet and observe. So that's the only reason. It's very superficial though.
I mean, I would think about, like I said, what some of the things that used to be on my list aren't even applicable now. Like when I was younger and I worked in sports, it was two types of guys that I hated when I worked in sports. It was the guy who was like, man, I don't care nothing about them athletes, and just would dog out athletes because, he wanted to prove how much he didn't care and wasn't impressed by them. Or it was the guy who was like, oh, so that means you get tickets to the game, that was too hyped up.
Right.
Those were the two guys that I hated. So when I was in that career, those were on the list. A guy who got to tell me how much he ain't impressed, or somebody who is too impressed.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really matter to me now because, I'm so detached from sports in general. Mm-hmm. But you know what a turn off for me is a man wearing a jersey. I think it's because I had clients who were on the team. So it's something about a grown man wearing another grown man's jersey. Now, if you in the family, that's your brother, that's your cousin, that's your son. But if you just like a grown man, and it's so superficial, it's so stupid. It's your favorite team, it's your favorite player. I know it's not.
What jersey they supposed to wear?
Just wear a t-shirt. But yeah, that used to be, if I saw a man in a jersey, no. If it was a throwback, I would almost let you slide. But a jersey of somebody that's out there right now, you not related to him?
Dang.
I would let that one go now, I think. Because you know what, now I realize, and I've told you this recently, I'm learning more about myself in that I tend to get turned off from people who don't agree with me or don't feel what I feel. And especially on social media, we see everybody's like that. It's like, just because you have a different opinion doesn't mean we got to be mad at each other. Doesn't mean we got to be fighting. I'm not mad or fight somebody because they have a different opinion. I just don't understand what they're thinking. Like, why would you not think what I'm thinking? So I'm getting better about allowing people to think something different than me. Yeah. And if what your thought is that you should put this jersey on before we go to the game, I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's what you're wearing?
So it's just the men, though. You don't mind women wearing men's jerseys.
No, it's just a man. But again, I mean, I'm all about updating my standards, not lowering. That's what one of the participants said, revising the list. Not lowering your standards, but revising it. And we learn what's more important to us now. I've been saying for a couple of months now, I realize it's more important for me to focus on what do I need a man for versus who that man is. Because sometimes you can get caught up on who the person is versus are they able to provide you with what you need from that man or that person, that partner. Yeah. So it might be people are like, oh, I don't want to date him because we grew up on the same block, or he's my brother's best friend, or we used to work, all these reasons why you wouldn't date somebody, and you kind of negate the whole thing of who this person could be to you outside of who they already are. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting into that. I'm figuring it out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to find you a curly-haired man. And he's going to be perfect in every other way, and I'm going to see what you're going to do. He cannot help. You said he can help how much product he put in.
Yes, he can. It ain't got to be shiny and curly.
You don't want no dusty head, man. Okay, y'all, we're going to take this offline. All right, thanks again to everybody who watched First Date. We're aiming for at least one a month is our aim. So if you do have any interest, women, we love to hear from you. Men, especially, we love to hear from you. We're already kind of going through some of our possible featured singles for the next episode. Yeah. So we'll make sure we keep you posted on that. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And we love to hear those comments. We'd like to know what y'all are thinking. What's your ridiculous deal breaker that's similar to Brian's pretty feet, my ugly hands, and Robin's curly hair? Right. Comment and tell us what is your, it's ridiculous, but it's still a thing. Right. Let us know that. Oh, no, he did.
Girl, yes, he did.
Let that man use his activator.